Hello and welcome back to Joellen's Kitchen. Today we're going to make an old-fashioned Pennsylvania Dutch dish called Brown Betty. And it's a very simple dish. It is an apple concoction topped with a lemon sauce. So we're going to start by creating 4 cups of very thinly sliced apples, which I've already started here. Got them peeled. And then if you can arrange or visually sort out 3 separate piles, as I've done here, 1, 2, and 3, we're going to take the first pile of sliced apples and arrange them around the bottom of a dish. Now I just grabbed a deep dish pie plate, but it can be square or rectangular. Whatever you have on hand is quite all right. And you're going to arrange these again across the bottom, 1/3 of the apples. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you an important fact. First, you have to grease the bottom of the pie plate or pan, whatever you're using. And I simply used my butter and put it around the bottom. Lost my voice for a fraction of a second there. And we just about have that first third in there. And the next thing you want to do is prepare 2 cups of cubed bread. Now this was a good way for them to use up slightly stale bread. In today's loaves I use Myers, and I got 4 slices to get 2 cups of cubed bread, and I already cut it into cubes, and I'm going to sprinkle half of that, or 1 cup, across those apples. Just like that. And then I'm going to take 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon and sprinkle that across both the apples and the breadcrumbs. From there, I want to have 1 cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of butter, which isn't a heck of a lot, quite frankly, but that's what it calls for. And I'm just going to slice it to get it started. But you want to mix those 2 together, the butter and the brown sugar, that is. And I'm doing it right in my mixing cup because it's no other ingredients than that. And if you like cinnamon, which I do, you can add another 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon to the butter and the brown sugar. And once you have that thoroughly mixed, what you want to do is put 1/2 of this concoction on top of that layer of apples and breadcrumbs. And we're just going to reach in here and sprinkle it around. We do want to keep 1/2 a cup for the very top. That's about half the mixture. We want to make another layer of apples with that 1/3 that we sorted out earlier. Now we're going to put the other layer of breadcrumbs on top and spread those around. Again, that's a cup of breadcrumbs. And then we're going to put the last layer of apples across the top. It's going to cook together, so we aren't going to worry about it too much being high like this. It'll shrink down when the juices start flowing. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we have the balance of our brown sugar mixture that we're going to put across the top. And if you want to put your lid on your cinnamon and you have a sprinkle portion, you can always sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon on top for good measure. And that should about do it. Now what we're going to do is put this in the oven, bake it for 30 minutes on 350 degrees, and we're going to pull it out then. And while this is baking, we're going to make the lemon sauce. So hang in there. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, what I have is an old gas stove. I have been using this for many years, and it is the only stove and oven that I have. Doesn't have a temperature gauge. I adjust the temperature by the flame that I see, and it's actually just about right there. It doesn't take very long to heat up the oven because it's gas and it's an open flame. It heats up rather quickly. But I'm checking my time. We'll be back in half an hour, but in the interim we're going to make that lemon. Okay, we're ready to make the lemon sauce, and of course that takes lemons. They want you to use 3 lemons. They want you to use the juice. So we squeezed some juice in there from this lemon. I pulled out the seeds. And they want the grated rind, so I'm just going to scrape it off the best I can here with my knife. And get that in there. And if you don't have enough lemons, you can always substitute a couple of tablespoons of lime juice, or a lime or 2 or 3 if you have them. Or mix your lemon and lime, but the old-fashioned recipe actually calls for lemons. So another citrus you could use is orange. Oranges are good too because they're citrus, and it stops the apples from getting even browner and gives it that sweet and sour taste that the Pennsylvania Dutch is so famous for. This does take sugar as well. In the sauce we're going to use white sugar though instead of brown sugar. I got my lemon in here, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of lime juice. I'm going to mix it up a little bit because I only had 1 lemon. And that should cover me for the 3 lemons. What I'm going to add to that is 2 cups of sugar and a half a cup of butter, which is 8 tablespoons. And a cup of water, 3 eggs. There we go. poured the mixture in my NutriBullet and mixed it all up on the powdered. Well, you make fruit smoothies with it. That's what you do with a NutriBullet usually. And if you have a double boiler, you want to put the mixture on top of that and cook it until it's thick. I don't have a double boiler, so I'm just going to use my copper pan and keep stirring it and cooking it this way until it's thick. Well, I think that's about it. So again, we're going to go over to the cook stove and we're going to fire it up for the top. I am going to turn my brown Betty. I'll be back when that sauce is thick and the apples are done, and we'll try a piece together. My sauce is starting to thicken. It's looking really good. Let's check on the apple Betty in here. Ooh, it's cooking, it's browning, and that'll soon be done. 5 more minutes. Okay, here we are with the finished product. We're going to dip a spoonful of our apple Betty into a bowl, and then we're going to put some homemade thickened lemon sauce on top, the sweet and sour, if you will, the sugar and the lemon. Let's give it a try. I hope it's not too hot. We'll blow it a little bit. Just in time for dessert.